looking at getting and how much of it is actually going to help with them. So I think it's a little bit of a mutual. There hasn't been, I don't believe, anything concrete on it, but there are some beneficials for either party. So I think that's where discussion's coming in at.
Right. And so as this article comes again from Hagerty.com/media. And the article says, despite having only manufactured a tiny number of cars, Rimac is seen as Europe's answer to Tesla, a real innovator in the EV, standard for electric vehicle world, with most and a host of unique technologies such as AI driver coach and power inverters. Alongside Porsche, Rimac can count Jaguar, as we say it, Jaguar, Hyundai, Koenigsegg, and Magna as current investors into their own avenue. So
they're looking to expand and get into more of the market and bring out their EVs.
Yeah, and it said that the company Rimac is valued at $650 million.
So this purchase of Bugatti, or the shared parts of it, would be huge in multiple areas. Getting the name out there and being able to put their technology into a Bugatti to make hey, we got a Bugatti with our technology, our engines and batteries, etc., whatever they're going to do with that technology for it, just getting that up there.
I mean, the Rimac 1 looks, I think to me, the Rimac 1 looks better than the Bugatti Veyron. And it's close to looking better than the Chiron. I do think that it's kind of like, if you look at Rimac, if you've never seen one of them, it's kind of like an amalgamation of like Koenigsegg and Bugatti, like in these nice lines, performance-oriented, but they're fantastic cars. So Volkswagen is reportedly keen to offload Bugatti, despite it being the former boss's Ferdinand Piëch and his passion product. But Rimac visited Bugatti in July, fueling more and more of these rumors. So
see where that goes, but it could be a change of hands and see what happens to Bugatti in 10 years.
Yeah, and if you guys want to see more about the Rimac and the Rimac 1 concept and all that, is go watch the Grand Tour. I forget what episode it is, but Richard Hammond and the crew went out and they were driving one, and he actually wrecked one.
Is that like season 2, episode 1? Because he wrecked it in the first, and then they're like, oh, we lost him for the show, he's dead.
I can't remember. I honestly can't remember what episode, but it was. I think it was like the season 1 finale that they did this like cross country tour and like performance cars and hypercars.
It was an uphill race.
Yeah, it was an uphill race that it just looked weird. Like it looked like Richard Hammond did a fantastic job, and the next thing you know, the thing just goes hurling off
over the hill.
A cliff, which, according to Richard Hammond, was not anything against the car. It was his own driving. And the problem with like dealing with an EV car is you're not hearing the engine and everything running. So he didn't know how fast he really truly was going. So that's interesting rumors coming out of Germany and Europe. So we'll be interested to see how that plays out and if it does, in fact, play out. So that brings us to our final segment of the day, guys. That is going to be our interview with John Doonan, president of IMSA. So we're going to go right to Mid-Ohio and do a live interview with him. Well, not live, but it was live. It's in the past. We did it in the past. We're going to just input it in right here. So we'll be right back after this.
Hello and welcome to the Midwest Motoring Podcast, sponsored by Hagerty. My name is Matt Pesiconis, Regional Territory Manager with Hagerty. As you can probably hear in the background, we are live at Mid-Ohio, and I am joined by the one and only President, John Doonan. John, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Matt. We're thrilled to have you with us here at Mid-Ohio, and we're really proud of the partnership that Hagerty has with us here at IMSA.
And I know that we've been partnering with you guys not only on the physical racing, but also on the digital front, and that's where a lot of my audience actually might know us from. Yep. So, again, thank you so much for joining us in the studio. We just wanted to take 5, 10, 15 minutes to talk with you about how you got started, because I know a little bit of the story. You started off with Mazda.
Yep.
So if you can, talk us through how the journey to your dream came about with working with IMSA.
I think, like a lot of your listeners and a lot of Hagerty's clients, the passion for the automobile and the passion for driving started because of my dad, my grandfather. So it was something passed down from generations. I think a lot of people can relate to that. And
it's hereditary. That's what you're saying.
100%. If you're going to have something be hereditary, that's what you want. But my grandfather was a car guy, bought and sold used cars and exotic cars, and had some cars in his collection over the years I wish that we still had in the family. Passed on to my dad. My dad was a grassroots club racer here in the Midwest and spent many weekends with him here in Mid-Ohio and places like Road America and up in Michigan where Hagerty is, Groton and racetracks like that. So I've been around it all my life, and I think I was a little boy on the other side of the fence just wanting to be part of the action.
Okay. And so you got your start with Mazda.
That's right.
And you were basically, as the quote is out there, you were running the elephants.
Yeah.
Now you're running the entire circus, right?
Yeah.
So how did you go about working with Mazda to get to here?
Again, around a lot of other car guys. Mazda as a company, like many of the brands that are partnered with IMSA, are made up a bunch of passionate car people, and met the right people at the right time and shared with them my dream of working for that brand. Because my dad had raced with some of his buddies, some RX-7s, and then participated in IMSA as a competitor, followed IMSA in the 80s, so saw the success of IMSA growing at that time, and then was very fortunate that Mr. France and Ed Bennett and leadership at IMSA and NASCAR asked me to come part of the management team, and just second life dream come true.
So what type of issues have you guys been wrestling with as a result of COVID this year?
Yeah. Well, I think first it was not being able to hold an event, which was the Mobile One 12 Hours of Sebring, but then figuring out how we could, with our colleagues at NASCAR and our colleagues on the medical liaison side, go back to racing in a safe manner. One of the biggest challenges we face as the International Motorsports Association is that 40% of our participants were outside the U.S. And so
that's a huge number, actually. Like compared to a lot of the other series racing, in North America, that's huge, 40%.
Massive, and thanks to the France family and the relationship with the governor of Florida, and certainly with an opportunity to meet with the Department of Homeland Security and therefore U.S. Customs, we were able to get our participants back, to a man, to a woman. Nobody has had issues getting back, and we did it in a safe manner and in the right way, and got everybody registered. And here we are. I think 4 or 5, 6 races into going back to racing with five more to go.
Yeah, and the great thing is that you guys are really not necessarily, I don't want to say strict, but you're beholden to those safety requirements, and you guys are doing a fantastic job.
Well,
so thank you for keeping not only the teams, the drivers, but also the participants, because as an enthusiast, we haven't been able to get out and enjoy racing. Yeah. Well, and I know with partnering with Mid-Ohio, that was a big push.
It's so nice to be able to pull into these racetracks, and we've had a few where we were not allowed to have an audience on site, and to be able to pull into some of these tracks, certainly Mid-Ohio, no exception, to be able to have fans on site, people that love what we do in IMSA, whether it's one of our single make championships or the Michelin Pilot Challenge or the WeatherTech Series. So we're glad you're here, and we also appreciate the people that haven't been able to come watching on NBC, because we've had a great lift in our TV audience, and we hope to continue to grow that.
Not only have you guys had a lift on the TV audience, but with all of your avenues out into the digital space, has that been not necessarily profitable, but has the market reacted to you guys being in that digital space?
No question. The Mark Arms team, Nate Siebens, Dave Sonsky, Megan Thompson, they've been so active on the ground to actually take all the content that we're creating, the teams are creating, a new way of doing interviews and that type of thing, and launching into spaces like TikTok and some other channels that you might not have thought of IMSA being a part of a while ago. And now we're seeing this massive engagement with our audience, both current and new audience. So, as difficult as COVID has been, it's put us in some new arenas, which we're really excited about, hoping we can grow those, including iRacing.
And, you're 100% on point. Your Instagram is just off the chain. So I love following your guys' Instagram. You guys do a really good job of of picking out the best things from IMSA, the best things from your races, and putting them on that source. So you guys are doing a great job on that. A little bit about you. How did you really find a passion of racing? You said you participated way back when. When was that, and how did you like it?
Yeah, Dad was racing from the time I was born until he passed. But this morning I was out with our marketing team, our partnership team, putting signs around the track for the TV, the A-frames. And I was telling Emily and Casey that manage that for us that I used to ride around on the wrecker that would deliver the fire bottles and flags and shovels and oil dry to the corner station. So I was a track rat. My dad was racing, but I was in the mix from before sunup when it was.
That's almost a different breed of racing fan. I tell you what,
Yeah.
Those people who help out, like, it is a voluntary position, and it's such a great way. If any of my listeners are involved in racing or love to get involved, reach out to your local tracks and try to become that track rat.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
They always need help. As they say, the corner worker is a dying breed, and they need them.
Yeah.
And if you like racing and watching, that's a great way.
Yeah, the marshals that come from local SCCA regions, or, to your point, people that just want to be part of the sport, it's a very inexpensive way to volunteer, come out, see racing all day, and sometimes all night at the Rolex 24 or the Mobile 112 hours of Sebring or Petit Le Mans, and you might get a free lunch out of it, and you are going to get to be trackside all day.
But you're also going to be able to see some amazing race cars and some amazing teams go around. So how do you see IMSA going forward in the future, and potentially having to deal with COVID into 2021?
Well, I think back to what you said about being able to run these events, I think we've got a very good system in place for the medical side of it, and again, thanks to our administration team and to our medical liaisons for putting a process in place to do that. Our track promoters, they too have worked with their local authorities to make sure we've got compartmentalization on the paddock areas and pit lane and things like that. One of the things that makes IMSA special is allowing the fans who do attend to get up close and personal. We've been able to do our traditional grid walk, thanks to Haggerty, in a unique way. But we want to be able to do those things we would do in normal times as soon as possible again. So I think we head into 21 hoping that some of the restrictions lift, but we need to be smart. We want to continue to run races safely, and hopefully sooner rather than later we'll be back to what everyone expects when they show up at an IMSA race.
I'm right there with you, hoping and praying, I tell you what. But so not only is IMSA growing year by year, I know 2020 has been a hiccup for a lot of people, and you guys are definitely planning for 2021. What other great activations and great involvements are there out there for maybe fans to involve themselves with IMSA?
Well, we've got some real nice opportunities through COVID to engage on the iRacing side. A lot of IMSA product that people see on the track is in iRacing, but also in Xbox and some of the other video platforms. So, identifying our next generation of Matt's and John's to be the next generation of fan and participant is a critical part of growing us. I think also you mentioned social. We really are looking to find that next super fan, that next sports car racing fanatic that follows us no matter if we're on a race weekend or not, and that's what we really need to focus on. I think we got terrific manufacturer partners, we got terrific partners in WeatherTech and Michelin, but we need to make sure we're bringing more fans to the track and more fans engaging in our story and our shows.
You guys have absolutely been crushing it over the years on that. You guys have absolutely been that welcome. When I first started coming to IMSA races, it was that I was intimidated by going through the paddock walks, talking with teams, and getting to know them. I don't know another racing series that you can get up and close and personal with racers, with team captains, with mechanics and pit crews, and actually work with them. I know that I had the pleasure of sitting in a couple of the GT1 Porsches, right, and being like, this is amazing.